Hello, this is Ed Rigsbee, and welcome to the June 2023 Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame video. This is where we bring to you, the association executives, a cast of characters of virtual keynote speakers that are awesome people. We're giving you the opportunity to experience speakers that maybe you would have never experienced before. And I just wanted to remind you that all of the association executives that register for the showcase, at the end of the year in December, you get to vote for who gets inducted into the Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame. So we're recording this June 2023, and in December 2023, you'll get an email and you get to vote. So I hope you do that. Well, also, I just want to remind you that the Cigar Peg, who is the sponsor of the Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame, we are a 501c3 nonprofit charity. What that means to you is you get to work with these speakers direct. No middleman, no bureau, no anybody getting in the way. You contact the speakers directly and you cut your best deal with the speakers. So with that, let's jump on to our first speaker. She has taken people-pleasing to Olympic levels. For decades, she has put everyone else's needs above her own until she hit a metaphorical brick wall. After committing to one too many responsibilities, Sheryl discovered the importance of boundaries. Well, she says, okay. She actually discovered that boundaries were a thing. Now she's on a mission to change the world, one boundary at a time. If you're ready to improve your relationships, your communication, and your well-being, please welcome Sheryl Green.
It was late October of 2021, and I was working full-time for a nonprofit and running my own business. I was averaging 16 to 18-hour days, but I still wasn't getting everything done. I was crying constantly. I was short with absolutely everyone, and honestly, I was just losing it. One evening, I was running an errand for the nonprofit, driving down the road, and I became mesmerized by the headlights of the oncoming cars. A thought popped into my head: if I just crossed that median, this would all be over in a second. I have never been so afraid of my own thoughts. I pulled over to the side of the road to stop crying, calm down, and to make a change. Now, let me ask this question. As a business owner or a leader, how often do you say yes when what you really want to say is no? How many times do you say, I'm too busy, or I wear too many hats? If it's a lot, you're in line with most of my clients and where I was in October of 2021. Oh, but we love to say that we're busy. It's like a badge of honor in our society. Look, it's good to work on your business. It's good to be passionate about your business. But when you do too much, you become overwhelmed. You become burned out, resentful. And that's not healthy for you. And that's not healthy for your business. So today, you're going to learn the importance of setting boundaries. Imagine for a moment if the next time someone asked you how you are, instead of saying, I'm busy, you said, I'm peaceful and thriving. Doesn't that sound amazing? So let's dive in. If you have ever considered yourself a punk rocker, you're probably a fan of The Clash. Now, I took my own spin on their famous song, and I like to call it the Clash question. Should I yay or should I no? This is a system that you can use to make better decisions when you're offered an invitation, an opportunity, or a task. Now, before we dive into this, I want you to think about something you've been asked to do recently. Maybe you said yes right away and you're kicking yourself for it. Or maybe you bought yourself some time and you're trying to decide on your next move. Keep that in your head as we go through the 3 questions and see whether or not the answers to the questions maybe change your decision. So those 3 questions are, do I want to or have to? Do I have the resources to carry it out? And am I willing to give something else up? Now, in order for you to say yay to the opportunity, your answer to all of those questions needs to be yes. But you don't have to be there yet. We're going to go deeper in and show you some more information on that. So that first question, do I want to or have to? For most people, for many people, whether or not you want to do something is pretty straightforward. Either you can't imagine not doing it, or, as my college professor said, you'd rather stick pins in your eyes. Pretty simple. But for some of us, me included, knowing what we want isn't that simple. Sometimes it's just this unnecessary feeling of obligation. If you find yourself in that camp, ask yourself this: will this opportunity bring me closer to my goal or to what I want to achieve? Is it fun? Or do I truly want to help someone out of love and not fear? Your answer to those questions will help you understand whether or not you want to do something. But what about if you have to do something? For that, we need to look at, is it life or death? Will you lose a client or tank a project if you don't do it? Or do you have to help someone who cannot do it for themselves and it's your responsibility to take care of them? If you don't want to or have to do something, the answer is no. Now, our next question is about resources. Do you have the resources available to carry this out? And resources can look like time, finances, mental, emotional resources. Remember how busy you said you were a few minutes ago? If you don't have the time, the money, or the emotional or mental bandwidth to handle something, it's irresponsible to say yes. So the only problem here is that our time sucks often show up as opportunities in sheep's clothing. And it's your responsibility to figure out which is which. If you don't have the time, the resources to do something, the answer is no. Now, our third question is around whether or not you're willing to give something else up. In the book 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman, he points out the startling fact that we only have 4,000 weeks on this planet. Let that digest for a moment. You and I, we have an average of 4,000 weeks to make our mark in the world. Now, this is depressing because it means we can't get everything done. But it's also uplifting because it means we can't get everything done. So choose wisely. This painful fact is that when we say yes to one thing, we're saying no to something else. That something else could be a new project, a new skill, spending time with your kids at their games or their dance recitals, or just collapsing on the couch and relaxing. But when you say yes to something, you're using up the resources allotted for something else. Now, it's not necessary to be stressed, to be overwhelmed, to be burned out, to be resentful. Use the clash question to help you make better decisions for yourself and for your business. And if you have a hard time saying no, even when it's the right thing to do, I've actually created a cheat sheet for you. You can download that at youhadmeatno.com. I'll leave you with this thought. This is from The Trash Heap, a wise, witty pile of garbage from Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock. Yes means yes, and no means no. If it's not a big yes, it's a no-go. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheryl. I appreciate that. I'm very glad that you made the decision to stick around. Let's move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Kricket Harrison. She is an expert on first-class leadership. Drawing upon her extensive experience in the travel and tourism industry, with a background that spans 4 airlines, 2 travel agencies, and multiple outside sales companies, Kricket has firsthand knowledge of the dynamics of constantly, if I can only say that, of constantly changing teams and the challenges of leading teams with diverse shifts. Leveraging her 25 years of industry experience, Kricket offers invaluable insight into the essential elements of first-class leadership, including performance, culture, and communication. By applying these principles, leaders can move effectively to engage employees, build connections that create high-performance teams, and deliver exceptional results. Joining us from Atlanta, Georgia, please welcome Kricket Harrison.
SWOT analysis. Most leaders are familiar with the term: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. In my industry, in the airline, hospitality, travel, and tourism industry, SWOT analysis can take on something a little different because we're always on the lookout for things. Our customers change daily and nightly, as does our team. We're always working with different people. When we're working a flight and we think of SWOT analysis, we're going through something a little different in our head. Suitcases, wheelchairs, on-time travelers. Will the suitcases fit? The wheelchairs, will they have a great experience? They need support getting on and off. What's the best customer service our team can provide? Are we going to be on time for departure and on time for arrival? And best, who are our travelers? See, we're in that situation where our travelers in an emergency become our teammates, and it's a little different for us. We had one gentleman I'll never forget, flying from Germany, walked up. We were like, welcome aboard. And we got that look. You know how you can tell and you can feel when it's just not going to be good? This man was upset and this man was angry, and we could feel it. He flung his backpack and dragged that suitcase and walked to his seat and plopped down, shoulders down, head down. Now standing, he was a good foot taller than me, and he probably had 10 to 15 years on me. And I'm watching this happen, tapping the fingers on the armrest. You know the type. It's amazing the personalities that come out when people travel. And it's really no different on teams in the workplace when somebody's had a bad day or something's gone wrong. So here he is, and I have to make the decision on what to do. I'm handling a zillion things. I'm dealing with travelers. I'm dealing with pilots. I'm dealing with the gate agents. And here's this gentleman, and the passenger next to him is getting nervous and looking, and everybody's looking around, and it's affecting everyone. See, when somebody shows up and they're toxic, it spreads like wildfire. I had to make the decision in that moment to walk over and talk to this gentleman. I did 3 things that I was taught to do, especially being a younger leader and having someone that maybe a little wisdom and a little height on me. The first thing I did was get present. I had to be in the moment. I couldn't worry about all the other things I was supposed to be doing. I couldn't worry about that. I got down on my knee, which was much easier back then. And I leaned in and I looked at him. We were equal. Now that's easy to do when you're in person, but when you're in virtual, doing a presentation or having a team meeting, how do you do that? One of the easiest ways is to mirror the behavior on the other side. Instead of leaning in and being like, what's going on with you? Take the stance that they're taking, maybe not as dramatically as the humph, right? But sit the way they're sitting. This can be done either way. The second thing I had to do is be aware of what we call situational awareness. Now, in most places, that's emergencies and threats. In our case, it was what was his behavior doing to the rest of the group around us? What was it doing to our passengers and their experience? What was it doing to my team who was trying to perform at their best? Knowing we were going to be in flight together for about 10 hours, no big deal, right? You could sit in a meeting all day with a grumpy or upset, angry person and not have it affect your team for 10 hours. It had to be dealt with. So I paid attention to what was going on and I got curious. I asked the question, how are you doing, sir? What's going on? How can I help? And I listened and I paid attention to what he was saying, knowing it was affecting everyone else. Now, the really interesting thing here was that I learned that what he was upset about had nothing whatsoever to do with my company and my team. Nothing. It had happened in a different place, in a different area. But guess what? Because the energy was brought into my space, it had to be dealt with or it could have a toxic effect. See, so oftentimes people show up with things that are bothering them, that they're upset about. Maybe it was traffic. Maybe it was the dog or the kid up all night. We don't know. But the energy in the room, kind of like the elephant in the room, it has to be dealt with, has to be taken care of. The third thing I did there that I mentioned was I listened. And it's a really tricky space. We think we listen all the time. But I listened to understand. I did not listen to solve the problem. It's kind of hard, isn't it? How often do you find yourself going in and listening to someone, whether it's a teammate, whether it's a customer, and you're in fix-it mode? What can I do? Man, we could do this, or what can I say? Or you find out it has nothing to do with you, not your fault, and you get defensive. Not my problem, not my monkeys, right? I don't have to do this. Let them just pout. You need to listen. There's a quick improv trick for listening if you find yourself going into fix-it mode and you need to pay attention, especially if you're virtual. And that is to follow the mouth of the speaker. And if that doesn't work for you enough, kind of mimic back in your head quietly, please, what they're saying. It helps keep you focused and on track. Now, my passenger, my client, the really upset guy, at the end of our conversation, deep sigh, leaned back. I knew I had him. At the end of the flight, he calls me over. He says, "Excuse me, miss." I'm kind of thinking, what now? Like, it's been good, right? And he says, "I just have to tell you, I'm an international travel writer for one of the most world-renowned travel magazines. And I had my article all set to write, and it was not going to be good." Wow, if I would have known. And then he says, "And based on our experience today and you talking to me, I've decided I'm not going to write the article." Now, in our day and age now, that would have been a tweet. It would have been an Instagram post. It would have been on LinkedIn, and it would have gone out almost immediately. See, we can't let things like this fester on our teams or in our environment because they will spread. And all it takes is a few key principles from first-class leadership. We'll catch you on the next trip.
Thank you, Kricket. Appreciate that. I'm think of all of my times on airplanes, and I wish somebody like you would have come and said hi to me. Okay, let's go to our next speaker. Clear, true, and to the point. That's Martin Limbeck. He tells it like it is and relentlessly exposes sore points. Born and raised in the Ruhr area, Germany's formerly largest industrial area, his motto is less show, more action. He himself is the best proof that honest, hard work pays off and paves the way to success. Martin Limbeck is the founder and owner of Limbeck Group, a senator for economics, EWS, a member of BVMW, which is Bundeswirtschaftssenat, which I think translates in English to the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs, and one of the leading experts on sales and sales leadership in Europe. In addition, he's a 5-time best-selling author and an absolute expert in blended learning. Together with his team, he has made it his mission to accompany companies in making their teams fit for next generation sales. Among other things, they support companies in developing their digital sales strategy and integrating digital tools, AI, agile process into existing sales structure. Honest, clear, and direct. Look forward with me to the man who will put you on the road to success. Join me in welcoming Martin Limbeck.
Hello, my name is Martin Limbeck and I'm the CEO of the Limbeck Group. You are responsible for sales and sales leadership as well as human resources development in your company. Many of our clients, mostly German family-owned corporations and market leaders in the industry, tell us that it's a great challenge right now to develop employees and teams to keep adapting to rapidly changes markets and to remain fit for the future, and that globally. Do you also know those or similar challenges? For almost 30 years, we have been advising and training leading family-owned companies in the German Mittelstand as well as DAX corporations in the field of sales and sales leadership. We are very sharp in this. This naturally includes establishing a sales-driven mindset to the company at all levels. Many market leaders such as Miele, Mars, Vodafone, Toyota or Festo, to name but a few, trust my team and me over 30 years now. We worked already in 30 countries and helped all sales reps in different and any situations and industries. They work together with the Limbeck Group because employees get into action immediately and those visible results are achieving quickly. Let's find out together where your needs best matches our companies so that we can achieve similar results in your teams as well we do with our enthusiastic customers. But an appointment now, my team and I are looking forward to getting to know you. Until sunny greetings. And let me tell you something. What we find out in the last 10 years that, like Rick said, blended learning came into the classrooms. And only 2-day training is nice for the guy who sent the bill. A new study shows that 87% from the University of Phoenix that after a 2-day training, 1 week later, only a few things are still in the mind of the participants. So what we develop for our customers is we call it a sales develop DNA check. We go out with a sales rep, we're looking at the CRM, the customer relationship management, we're looking to the sales script. We are especially very deep into the companies like German sales engineers. So then you get an analyze how we think your company is working in your market. We do mystery shopping, we do interviews, and then we start usually with a kickoff, with a motivational speech. And while we are there with the loop process, we call it the loop process, because we know that you have to repeat all the time your vocabulary, because your sales teams, especially when they're under pressure, they need very good objecting handling. They have to stay in prices. And right now, after especially COVID, the hybrid sales is there. Remote is here and stays here like we see it today. But on the other side, people are looking for new work, for different funnels to customers, and still forget cold calling or to sit at the table and get the benefits out. And it was a good questioning technique for the sales and the customer, that you really know what they need and what they want. And for this, we developed the blended learning sessions we are going into the company and check the DNA, then we present the DNA, we put together the blended learning system with 2 days trainings over a time at least for 18 months. Then we do small breaks with sessions like here, 50 minutes, 30 minutes with content, and we do a lot for the mindset. I know everybody talks about mindset and you hear it all the time, but the most important thing, especially in those days where you get more no's, or our customers tell us that customers are ghosting, you sent them an email, you called them, you had an appointment, you make the follow-up, and you don't get them on the phone, or you get an answer via email, LinkedIn, or whatever. So social selling is one thing we use very much too. And we do the whole circle around that, even what we do for the customers, that they stay in long term with us. Usually we train corporates and sales reps, especially for new customers, but we have a lot of value in the customers you already stay with you. So for us, it's very important. The worst thing they can say is no. So we do German sales engineering with good argumentation sentence, and we do it with a good mindset. And if you want to know what is in for you, just let us talk together. It was a pleasure to be in here with Ed and the team, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. I would hope that a number of association execs give you a jingle. All right, so let's jump to Laura Baxter. She's a singer and a voice leadership specialist. She was on the voice faculty at Duke University before touring the National Opera Company, then moving to Europe to further pursue her career. In addition to working with executives and speakers on their leadership presence, she is on the voice faculty for singing and speech at the Friedrich Alexander University in Erlangen, Germany, and has authored several books, including the #1 international bestseller, Dealing with Divas and Other Difficult Personalities. Today, she's coming to us from a hotel room in Dubai, where she has received an Outstanding Leadership Award in Education for her work on leadership and intercultural communication. I give you Laura Baxter.
In 2002 at Harvard University, Professor Nalini Ambari wanted to find out why some surgeons are sued for malpractice multiple times while other surgeons are not. They're not sued at all. So she did a study using two groups of surgeons, the first group being surgeons that had been sued multiple times, and the others who had never been sued. And she recorded the examinations that the surgeons had with their patients to find out what the different factors were. She looked at, for example, the content of what the doctors were saying. She also looked at the qualifications of the doctors with the hypothesis that the more highly qualified doctors, the patients would trust them even more and not sue them. And she also looked at the length of time that the doctors spent with the patients. But with all of these factors, there was no major difference between the two groups. Where she found a major difference was in the voices themselves of those doctors, the color of the voice, the timbre. She found that the doctors who had never been sued had a warmth in their voice that ensued trust in their patients. And then she found that the doctors who had been sued multiple times had an edginess in their voices that evoked feelings of dominance or insecurity. Your voice matters. In more recent studies at the University of Southern Denmark, Professor Oliver Niebuhr wanted to know what exactly are the factors involved in charisma. Why is it that we find some speakers more charismatic than others? And he looked at a lot of different factors in nonverbal communication and came to the conclusion that the voice is the most important factor. How you use your voice, how you vary your voice, how you play with your voice when you're giving a presentation. Your voice matters. And as a society, we automatically give the attributes of competence and intelligence to someone with a full, deep, rich voice. So I want to share just a couple of things, or an acronym with you that will help you work on your voice. And that's BOW, B-O-W, like a bow and arrow, not quite like a bow that, makes you look pretty, and you can use that one if you'd like. But the B of BOW stands for your breath, how you breathe. How you breathe determines not only how healthily you use your voice and how healthy your voice remains, but it also determines the emotional state of your audience, because your audience will breathe as you breathe. If you breathe superficially, they are going to breathe superficially. To show you what I mean, just kind of observe how you are feeling right now while I breathe superficially. Hi, I'm Laura Baxter, and as I'm speaking right now, I'm a leadership presence coach, etc. Listen to my voice. Do you like how it sounds? And let's feel how you, or notice how you are feeling right now. What is happening in your body when I breathe superficially? And compare that to, hi, I'm Laura Baxter. I'm a voice coach and leadership presence expert, and I work with people on their presence, how to take the stage and own the room. How do you feel now? Another question, by which example was I speaking faster? Most people will say I was speaking faster, I spoke faster in the example where I was breathing superficially. But that's not true. It felt that way because I brought you into a state of stress. When we're breathing deeply, we can actually speak as quickly as we like, and as long as the acoustics in the room can handle it, our audience will remain calm. So to be able to control your breath means literally being able to control how your audience feels about you. The O stands for open. If you really want to work on your voice or bring more warmth and depth into your voice, you need to open both your mind, your body, and especially your throat, because opening the throat causes a depth in the voice and more warmth in the voice. And last but not least, the W. The W stands for warmth. We often will use a much warmer voice when we're speaking with children or someone who's not feeling well, when we're trying to console someone. Notice how you speak when you do that. And then when you're interacting with your team, when you're interacting with your audience, bring more warmth into your voice. Because these three factors, your breath, being able to open your body, your throat, and your mind, and bringing warmth into your body, determines whether or not you can actually build trust more efficiently and effectively. And on this note, I said it's bow and arrow. So use your voice as you would with a bow and arrow, and release the arrow into the room. So release your voice into the room to fill the entire room. Stand really firm and be able to project your voice as well as bringing the warmth into the voice. And I'd like to close with a song. This song is called This Is the Moment. And in the song it says, there's that one line that says, this is the moment, this is the moment, this is the time when the momentum and the moment are in rhyme. I wish you all the best, that when you can take the moment, being in present, and take the momentum, you bring these together to absolutely take the stage and own the room. This is the moment, this is the day, when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming true today, is here and now to stay. This is the moment, this is the time, when the momentum and the moment are in rhyme. Give me this moment, this special chance. I'll gather up my past and make a difference at last. This is the moment when all is done, when all the screaming, dreaming, and scheming become one. This is the day. See it sparkle and shine. When all I've lived for, when all I've lived for, when all I've lived for becomes mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. That was awesome. I think I'm going to need some voice lessons after chatting with you. Okay, let me move on. The next speaker is our professional summarizer, and his name is Dale Irvin. And I've known this man for quite a lot of years. He is a member of the Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame. He is a member of the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame. He has a unique ability that I've actually never seen anybody else do. He comes to your meeting, he goes around to the sessions, takes notes, and then performs let's call it a comedy monologue, just telling people what they would have heard if they would have attended the various sessions. I'll let Dale Irvin talk to you more about what he does. Dale, let me turn this over to you now, and you can pick it up from there. Dale, you're on mute. Yeah. Yeah, go push a button somewhere. No, still on mute. Push another button.
Dale, you're
There
muted.
you go. Nope, it's gone.
How about that?
Good.
Okay, this will never happen at your meeting. This is just, something I threw in just for the showcase being muted. Anyhow, what I do as a professional summarizer, I attend your meeting both either in person or virtually. I listen to all the speakers, and then I construct a summary in the form of a comedy monologue so that you remember the important points of what those speakers said. That being said, let me tell you what you should have learned this morning had you been paying attention. First of all, we heard from Sheryl Green. Now, I've taken notes on all these speakers. Sheryl Green wants to change the world one boundary at a time. She used to work 16-hour days, spending all 16 hours crying, and was driving down the road one day when all of a sudden she decided the median strip is a good boundary to keep, okay? So you don't ever want to cross over there. So, and then she cited Clash, the group Clash. Should I stay or should I go? She changed that to should I yay or should I no? Very, very clever. And she has 3 points to go over for each decision you have to make. Do I want to or have to? Number 2 is, do I have the resources? And number 3, do I have to give something up? I'm trying to think of the most recent decision I had to make, and it was last night. I woke up and I really needed to do something. And I thought, do I have the resources? Of course I do. The bathroom is just a short walk away. And do I have to give something up? I do. Precious sleep. So there you have it. That's all. And she said we have fully 4,000 weeks on this planet. That's a little over 76 years. Now, when you get closer like me to the finish line, you start counting in seconds because there's a lot more of them. There's over 86,000 seconds in a day. So I'm going to stay with that. Our next speaker was Kricket Harrison, who talked about SWOT analysis, which I'm guessing is multiple ways to kill a fly. And she used to be in the airline business and had a passenger, a German passenger, who was very ticked off, was not happy, was, this is usually signal. She said, you can tell when things are going to go bad. Yeah, it's usually multiple swearing is usually what happens. And this guy was toxic and making everybody else uneasy. So she had to get in the present and mirror him like he was. So she started swearing back, and that, and she swore back at him in German, which was very, very present. And then you have to have situational awareness of what's going on. So she listened to the man in German and then replied by, uh-huh. Just like the way I speak to my 3-year-old granddaughter. I see. Okay, anyhow, she got the guy settled down. Everything worked out. Then we heard from Martin Limbeck over in Germany, who said 87% of the University of Phoenix students a week later forgot the stuff they learned. Now, now the University of Phoenix, I believe, is an online university. So of the 87%, 85% weren't really paying attention. They just had the camera on to get the credits. And then he talked about the loop process, which is doing something over and over and over again, which the students at the University of Phoenix could benefit from that. And talked about everybody is talking about a mindset. So once you set your mind to do it, everybody's going to talk about it. All right, one more speaker to go. And that was Laura Baxter coming to us today from Dubai. And she said that a study at Harvard why some surgeons were sued multiple times for malpractice while other surgeons were not. Chances are that the surgeons that got sued multiple times for malpractice are crappy surgeons. Okay, that's got to be considered. Maybe they'd be better off in auto mechanics. And she said that your voice is the lead factor in charisma. And that is very true, I found out. Always try to be charismatic through your voice. And then she gave us a 3-step thing, BOW, B-O-W. BOW is to breathe. Make sure that you breathe, because if you don't breathe at all, then you're going to become you don't want to breathe superficially. Superficially. Why? Fish breathe through their gills, and you don't have any. So no matter how super you are, you're not going to be able to breathe like a fish. And then O is for open your throat and say, ah, right there. And W is for warmth, because if you are not warm, if you're chilled a bit, your teeth will start to chatter, and that will affect your voice. And finally, she ended with a song, which I thought was a great ending to it. And I would like to end my part of this program also with a song, if you're ready.
Gosh.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay, the showcase is over. Have a nice day. There you have it. Okay, thank you, friends. If you'd like me to summarize your next meeting, give me a call at daleirvin.com, or you can't call that number, but just go visit there. Let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. And now, back to Ed.
Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. Hey, I want to say thank you to everybody: Sheryl Green, Kricket Harrison, Martin Limbeck, Laura Baxter, and Dale Irvin. And a special thank you to Joe Crusillo in the background, who's making sure everything that works. We appreciate you. And we will see you back in August for the next showcase. Bye-bye now.